As of yesterday, I am no longer a member of the Democratic Party. Hear me out because some of these reasons may apply to you. First, let me address the disastrous way the Democratic Party handled the 2024 election. For starters, Biden should have dropped out way earlier, and people should have exerted more pressure on him to drop out. It was clear that he was suffering from strong mental decline, and he would not be able to survive or last the next 4 years. On top of that, they should have had an open primary. What they did with imposing Vice President Harris as the nominee was ridiculous. It was undemocratic, and it turned a lot of people off. The way Harris herself handled the campaign was also very weak. She avoided a lot of hard interviews. That Fox News interview, which was pretty much the hardest interview, was a joke. It was rushed, and she quickly had to leave. If she cannot stand to scrutiny, then perhaps her capacity to be president has to be put in question. Furthermore, I donated money to the Democratic Party, and what was the use of that money? To pay $1 million to Oprah's production company just to host celebrities? Or to pay $500,000 to Al Sharpton? It made no sense, and it was difficult for me to donate that money. And now the campaign is in debt? It makes absolutely no sense. Democrats have doubled down on having money in politics instead of fighting it, as they once said they would. Obama criticized Citizens United, but ever since then, nothing has happened. They did nothing in these past 4 years to address money in politics. And that's a high level of corruption that is becoming very disappointing. But it was the aftermath of the election that really got me angry at the Democrats. First, it was the blaming of Latino men for being too sexist for voting for Vice President Harris. I already addressed that in a separate video, but it's definitely a factor. Then, refusing to contest the election results. There are legal ways to contest the election results due to Trump's previous behavior, but that's a subject for another time. The point is that Democrats folded too quickly. They opened the White House to Trump, and Biden was there with a huge smile, as if nothing happened. Are we forgetting that this is the man that incited a riot on January 6th of 2021, who a jury found liable for sexual assault, and who was convicted by a jury for 34 felonies? We're supposed to forget all that just because he won an election? And look at what just happened now in Carter's funeral. Everybody was happy with him. Obama was smiling and sharing stories with him as if nothing happened. It just doesn't add up. And the nail in the coffin for me was the ridiculous sentence that Trump was given for his 34 felony convictions. He was sentenced to nothing. And to me, that's a little bit personal. I have clients that for misdemeanors, such as trespassing, have to spend at least a night in jail or a weekend in jail before they come the next day to be arraigned and be released on personal. Trump had to do nothing. At the very least, he could have paid a fine, but no, he was sentenced to nothing. It's either one or two things. Democrats are more corrupt than we can possibly imagine, and they're sucking up to Donald Trump because they know he's a sucker for flattery and will probably not go after them due to all these niceties. Or in the end, it was all for show, and they were fooling us all into believing that Trump was as dangerous as he is. And in the end, the real issues in this country are not going to be touched on. Healthcare costs will continue to be out of control. Housing will continue to be unaffordable. Social economic inequality is going to continue, and people are going to be left behind. The top 1% is going to continue accumulating all the wealth. There's nothing for me in the Democratic Party. Right now, they're all paid and bought for. They're doing nothing for the common working man or the working woman, for that matter. They're not willing to fight the good fights. And I'll be supporting individual candidates in the future. But as of right now, I am a registered independent, and I will continue to be that way unless the Democratic Party changes fundamentally. If you have any thoughts or opinions, feel free to comment below.